And here we are, once again, a Thursday night, which means it's YSS Let's Talk. And we are live. Again, if you're tuning in, it's January 28th, 7 p.m. Special treat for you. You've got a box on Facebook that you can make some comments, ask some questions throughout this segment. Please do that. We love the comments. And I know Elizabeth loves the comments. I know, Teresa, you're a new guest, and you're going to love the comments and the questions as well, because we're talking about an awesome thing that I'm excited to learn more about, which is our street outreach program with YSS. So my name is Rusty Johnson. I'm a prevention specialist with YSS, also the host of YSS Let's Talk. And tonight, again, I just said it, we're talking about street outreach. Let me introduce a couple of our special guests tonight. So we have here Elizabeth Patten with us. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth is our YOC program manager. I'm going to let her talk about that acronym, abbreviation, whatever we want to call it, YOC, what that exactly means. We also have with us Teresa Bowlin, which is our lead street outreach youth advocate. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about what exactly that means too. Before we get there, again, I want to invite everybody, share this video, get the word out there. Elizabeth, I hope you talk, and Teresa, I hope you talk throughout this segment too about how many youth, how many people are impacted by this program. And I think once folks hear that, because I've been doing a little bit of research myself, they're going to want to share this video. To get the word out there and to find out ways they can get involved, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So first, Elizabeth, let me, if you don't mind, let me come right at you here. And can you introduce yourself a bit and tell me about that YOC I just talked about? What is that? What is it that you do?
Yeah, the Youth Opportunity Center, which we abbreviate to YOC, more commonly 612. I'm sure a lot of people have heard 612 being used. That's literally our address. We're 612 Locust Street. And so our Youth Opportunity Center is kind of the hub for IHYC. Iowa Homeless Youth Centers is a community-based program of YSS. So of course we are just a part of YSS, but only like here in Des Moines. And so our Youth Opportunity Center is our basis for our emergency bed program, our meal program, our drop-in center, and our mobile street outreach team. So that's kind of the first floor of that Youth Opportunity Center. And then the second floor, not to make it too more complicated, but we have other programs like our aftercare department, our post-secondary department, we have 2 mental health therapists, and then of course we have our admin team.
Wait, and this is all stationed in one building?
Yes, one big building downtown, 612 Locust Street. Very thankful to own the building and have gotten to renovate it the way we need it to be to best serve our youth. And so it's, a lot of moving pieces. We have people who live there. We have people who come in for showers. We have people who come in for counseling. We have all of our other staff members who do their daily jobs. It's a really fun space to get to be because there's just a lot of life to it.
And we did a YSS Let's Talk not too long ago where I learned so much about 612. And in the program that I work at in YSS, I work more in the prevention department. So I teach classes and schools. And so I don't get the opportunity to really, even though I live in Des Moines, don't get the opportunity to go to 612 once. And I had to do a drop-off, make just a drop-off at 612 for some supplies somebody needed. And it was my first time there, Elizabeth, and I walked in and I was blown away. I mean, they had like a computer lab, they had, and then at this YSS Let's Talk we did, I found out also laundry. So there's like laundry for the mail, so they can actually have an address to pick up mail. They have, I mean, so many incredible things. Elizabeth, if folks want to find out more about this, where do they go? Where do they find out more about 612 if they're tuning in?
Yeah, a great first place would be on our website. We go through all of our different programs that we have at Iowa Homeless Youth Centers and specifically 612. And again, 612 is broken out into those other programs. And so it goes over our emergency bed program, our drop-in center, and our street outreach program. So, and then please watch these, like Rusty mentioned, we did previous Let's Talk videos, rewatch those and learn about those as well. We did an interesting video tour of the Youth Opportunity Center. Folks want to see it too.
So, and that is, yes, please, folks, please. If you want to watch all of our YSS Let's Talk videos, especially the one about the street outreach, because Elizabeth was on there. You were awesome, by the way. And you can find out everything about that. Just go to yss.org and you can view all of the YSS Let's Talk. And I think it's itemized by, you'll see where it talks about IHYC, which is the Iowa Homeless Youth Center, and the YOC, which Elizabeth just explained for us. So, okay, Teresa, now let's talk to you, which I am excited, Teresa. Nice to meet you. We've never, I don't think we've ever officially met.
Nope.
And nope. And now you are the YSS IHYC Lead Street Outreach Advocate. That's quite the mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind, first, introduce yourself, but then break down IHYC and talk about what you do.
Okay, my name is Teresa. I've been with our business or our company for 18, 19 years, part-time. I started as an intern many years ago when we was down at 701. I've always worked the street outreach piece of it. So I go out on the street. I go and meet people, whether in tents, camps out in the woods. People stay in their cars, abandoned buildings, abandoned houses, different businesses around town. People might sleep in their car or around different buildings. So I basically just go out, find people that are staying out, give them our information, give them hygiene packs. If we have food, give them blankets. Depending on what time of the year it is, I could give them different supplies depending on what, like wintertime. We want to give out gloves, hats, scarves, blankets, boots, hand warmers, toe warmers, things that people don't think about. And then in the summer, it might be that summer stuff, tennis shoes, shorts, just more summer stuff. If we get tents, we might have to give out tents, tarps, batteries. Batteries is a very big thing. We don't get a lot of them, but we do. People are always asking about batteries.
Wait, you said batteries?
Batteries. And that could be they might need them for flashlights, radios, for just many different things that they might use. Candles is another one. So yeah, you'd be surprised at some of the stuff that people need that are staying outside.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, things that I was asking batteries for what, and like you said, and then when you say it, it makes so much sense.
Yep.
I mean,
and even in the summer, you don't think about it, but like sometimes people have little fans, put the batteries in the fan so they can cool off.
Yep. Actually, my mom-in-law for Christmas just got me one of those necklace fans, I think, that you put up. So yeah, like a little battery operated thing. And so you actually go out and meet the youth kind of where they're at.
Yes.
And don't let me put words into your mouth. I mean, but it sounds like you go out, you meet them wherever they're at and bring them resources, them, I mean, is that right?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's exactly what I do. I go out wherever they may be. That's where I go. Even another part of it, which with COVID, we haven't been able to, but we also do jail outreach. And that's another whole piece. So we, the jail, if we have young people that go to jail, or the jail will give us a list of young people that are homeless when they get out of jail. So we go visit them and we give them our information and resources. So when they get out, again, they know where they can go.
Okay. You're making me, I got so many questions here, but I want to keep going because, wow, that is incredible. And 15 years you've been doing this, 15, 17,
about 18 to 19
now. So, and I also know that you got some guests with you tonight, a dog. So if the dog wants to make an appearance or you need to, I know. So
yes.
I've got a kitty right down here, right next to me right now, but nope, says nope, not going to make an appearance.
Yeah.
It is so absolutely incredible. let me ask about this too. We were just talking about outreach. And I know that's one of the big things with YSS is so many different outreach things that we do. When we're talking IHYC, and Elizabeth, again, I know this is your specialty, but we're talking Iowa Homeless Youth Center, right? And so that encompasses 612, like what you were just talking about. Is that right?
Yep. Our street outreach team is within our Youth Opportunity Center programming, which is a part of IHYC, which is a part of YSS. So a little train there, but
that's awesome. And that's how I kind of, the kind of help break it out, because boy, I mean, even in my program, we do so much outreach too. And now, is Reggie's Sleep Out something that you're familiar with and a program? Okay.
Yeah, great question.
And if folks don't know about Reggie's Sleep Out, Elizabeth, can you fill them in on this? Because it's awesome.
Yeah, Reggie's Sleep Out is actually very near and dear to our street outreach team because Reggie Kelsey was actually one of our street outreach youth. And so we were able to do a memorial for Reggie Sleep Out to commemorate him and bring awareness to this issue so that we were able to hopefully have less negative outcomes for our young adults experiencing homelessness. So Reggie Sleep Out started where we sleep outside in Drake Stadium and have everybody raise money and awareness, and we're able to our youth actually participate in Reggie Sleep Out too. So like our young adults who are experiencing homelessness also get involved. Last year with COVID, we had to do it virtual, of course. And so we did Reggie Sleep Out at home, but our young adults still were joined teams and they still assisted in raising money, even though they themselves were experiencing homelessness. And so it was really special to us because again, Reggie Kelsey was a street outreach youth. And so it just really hits home to me and our other street outreach staff because we just know how hard it can be for young adults who are sleeping outside. And we just really want our youth to be safe and to know that people care about them. And so actually, for this Reggie Sleep Out, we made a video tour because we got to do more in-depth informational about our different programs. And so our development coordinator, Blake, actually got to ride around with Teresa, which was really cool, just to be able to show folks more what street outreach looks like. Because like you said, outreach means different things for different programs. Like for us, outreach means literally going outside and working with people who are experiencing homelessness.
Okay, well, let's. I think we have a video to capture this. I'm excited to see Teresa on this.
Many of our youth were dealt a bad hand in life, and sometimes that means living on the street.
The sound of our outreach van approaching means relief with food, water, and other basic necessities.
Our outreach advocate Teresa spends weekends trying to find youth where they're at and get them connected with our services.
But yeah, over the years, we've had a lot of changes when it comes to the youth on the street. We used to have camps where it was nothing to have 10, 15 plus young people in camps. Now it's a little bit different. I do still find young people out there. We do have what's going on with the younger people though. A lot of them do a lot of couch surfing and will go stay with other people and that kind of thing, but they're still out there. It is a place I check on just because people can be in there still. People hang out in this area, sleep down here. I started as an intern here. I did that for about 9 months. And I've always done the street outreach piece. I've never worked at the Buchanan House. I didn't do White House. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to go out on the street and work with people on the street. So I started doing it as an intern. Me and my boyfriend, I'm still with the same person this time. But we had to stay out on the street ourselves. Didn't know about anything about where you can get food, any of that. So that I think is what kind of brought me to want to work with people that are homeless. Sometimes we run into people, sometimes we don't. And it also depends too when you go to camps. Some people may not be home because they might be out because today's a nice day. They might be out camping or flying signs. And depending on when you go out, like during the day, it looks different than at nighttime. supplies is always going to be water, sunscreen if we have it, always hygiene packs, and that could be, there's either shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrush. I think I put socks in these ones. If anybody gives me food, donated food, I will put food back here. What else do I have? Clothes. I try to have summer clothes in the summertime. Obviously, in the wintertime, I switch it up to scarves, gloves, hats, winter coats, boots. Shoes is another light item. Shoes and socks, underwear, as if we have any kind of camping gear at all. We take that out too. Again, I don't get that a lot. A couple weeks ago, I had a bunch of stuff that I had somebody given to me, and I knew somebody that needed it, so I took it to them. So that's pretty much what I carry out in the. When you get used to going to the same places and seeing the same people over and over again, and then when the city or whoever comes in and tears everything down, then you're on a hunting. You're on a hunting process of trying to find out where people went, because they just didn't magically get a place to stay. Sometimes I'll go downtown on the bikes because, again, you can get in those alleys and just areas that you can't. I mean, you'd be surprised. I find some really cool, interesting places that you don't know exist unless you're doing this kind of work. And you can find different places like that with bikes. But I do try to get up on the bikes to go to the bike trails.
We can't hear you, Rusty.
My bad. I'd muted myself. So, Teresa, let me ask you this. How did it feel to make that video?
I was really nervous about it, honestly. But I was really glad I was able to do it, because I think it's very important that people see what is out there, because a lot of people don't know. So I just think it's very important for people to see what's really going on out there behind. I tell people it's like the underground of Des Moines, that nobody knows what's really going on, in our streets. I mean, we have people that are homeless all over, and a lot of people don't realize it. So I was really glad that we were able to show that, so people know that it does exist. And so I was happy about that part of it. Definitely.
Yeah. Teresa, I know we haven't talked. I've had the opportunity to live all around the country, and as a former foster youth myself, raised in the foster care system, and so I've lived in Dallas, I've lived in Los Angeles, I've lived, and then coming back here to Iowa, one thing I realized is a lot of people don't, you think of homeless youth, or you think of, and it's like, oh, we don't really have that big of an issue here. We don't have, and I'm just being honest. Yep. I mean, this is my observation, but I think you captured that so great, that we do have an issue here, and a need that we are meeting, of course, with so much other people that come, be a part of that. And you had mentioned, my goodness, socks. I think I was writing this down: shoes and socks, and you already mentioned batteries, and again, so many different things. Now, I also know that we have this thing called the YOC. We talked about that, the Youth Opportunity Center, right? So Elizabeth or Teresa, I can pass it to either of you. Can you talk about what exactly the Youth Opportunity Center is again, and what it does, what we need?
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to have both our Youth Opportunity Center and our Street Outreach Program, because they work together. So we have a lot of what we do with Street Outreach is build that rapport and that trust with our young adults, making sure that they know that we are people who they can count on, making sure that they know that they can open up to us and be vulnerable and help us or work with us to help them. And so we do that on the streets, and we provide them those basic needs supplies to make sure that we have that met. And then once they feel comfortable enough, they can come back and access our drop-in center to do the showers, to do the laundry, to hopefully work with our youth advocates more into getting a job or a place to stay, getting back into school, things like that. We can do all of those things in the street as well, and we do a lot of that, but it's sometimes easier to apply for a job at a center, right? So it's really nice that we have both of those components that we can really wrap around all of the services necessary. As well as, like, right now, it's just impossible to get warm outside. And so we can just literally bring a youth back in and help them literally warm up so they can actually think more clearly to be able to do the job applications and things like that. So yeah, we're very thankful to have both of those components at IHYC.
Thankful and lucky and blessed. And I mean, that it's, again, and I love that. When I first got into child welfare, I guess you would say, there was this thing called wraparound. And I know y'all are familiar with that. And I wasn't, though. I was like, wraparound services. What is that? And one thing I love about what you're talking about, Elizabeth and Teresa, is it really is a wraparound service. I mean, it kind of encompasses all and full. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. But Teresa, I'm interested in something. You said intern. You were an intern at the very beginning. How did you get started in this?
Well, I knew I wanted to work with young people, and I was going to DMAC, I believe. I think it was at DMAC or it was at Grandview. I can't remember which one, but we had to do an internship. And right when I seen Iowa Homeless on there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. So I went down there, got in the internship program there for school. And I was asked, and I think I said this in the video too, I was asked, do I want to go to the Lighthouse? Did I want to go to Buchanan? Or did I just want to do the street outreach piece? And the street out piece is the place that I wanted to be. I mean, so that's where I've been the whole time. So yeah, I started my internship way back when and I think I did it for like 9 months, and then it was done. And then like 2 or 3 months later, they were hiring part-time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to work there. So then I got the job and take it from there.
And have you, and you can speak to this probably better than anybody. Have you seen services grow?
Gosh, yes. I will tell you, there has been like so many different changes over the years. I would probably say one of the best things is when we got 612, because we have e-beds. There was a time that we did not have e-beds. Many years ago, and I don't know if you're from Des Moines and know a little bit about Des Moines, many years ago when we were at 701 Grand, we used to have the YWCA that used to be next door to us, and then we had the YMCA and closer to the river, not where it's at now. And we used to have, they would let us have like, I think 2 or 3 e-beds in their places so we can have places for our young people to go. And then we also had Buchanan, again, I can't talk a lot about that because I didn't work that program, but I think it was more like a transitional living. So that's the only e-beds we had was at both the Ys, and I think there was only 2 or 3 beds at those places. And then they, like the YW ended up closing and got tore down. Same thing with the YM. But once that happened and it was getting close for them to get rid of it, then we lost all that. So we didn't even have any kind of e-beds. So when we got 612, it was nice that we got those e-beds that we needed so bad, because, you know, the hardest thing would be, and it still is the hardest thing, couple things, is because we used to work later into the night. I mean, it would be nothing to work till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I remember we would get young people, seriously, that we would just drive around for hours because there was nowhere to take them. I remember there was this one girl, a young girl, and she had been assaulted, and I rode with her for like till 2 o'clock in the morning. She had no ID. And at the time we had no e-beds. She didn't have no ID, so we couldn't get her into the big homeless shelter. And so I finally at 2 o'clock, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to call down to the shelter. And at the time there was someone working there that we had some connections with. And I said, hey, is there any way you could bring this girl in? Because we could drive around all night long. And they got her in without her ID. So that was good. And again, that was like many years ago. So, and then there's, and even now and I remember when I first started doing the work, I just wanted to bring everybody home with me. I mean, I really, truly did. You learn. I mean, and now it's, again, I'm not gonna say it's easier, but I know that I can't, obviously. But, sometimes, and this is probably still the hardest part of my job, is when Elizabeth will call me and say, hey, Teresa, we got this young person. Can you find them a place to stay on the street? So then I have to go somewhere and find them a place to stay in the woods. And that to me is still hard because we shouldn't have to do that. We should always have a place for them. But our place, I mean, it tells you how bad we needed our 612 and the e-beds because they're always full. And I'm sure Elizabeth could talk more about that. So that's still is always a hard part for me where I'm like, I have to go find someone a place to stay on the street. And when you're doing that, that's another whole thing in itself because depending on the person, and I seriously, I can type like forever about different stories and different things that's happened over the many years. But you just have to, when you first meet the person and you got to take them to find them a place, it's like, okay, do you want them to be in this area around these people, or do you want them to be by yourself? You just have to look at so many dynamics to see where to actually place them. It's not as simple as like, let's just go and put them here. I mean, you really have to think about it. And that person might not know much about because you just met them. So you got to figure out what would be a good spot for them. So,
and this is why we got specialists like you, Teresa, and like you, Elizabeth, that know what you're doing, know everything that you were just talking about, personalities, what's going to be the best placement. Like you were just talking about, where's the resources? I mean, and I know we started with kind of me asking, have you seen a change? Has this grown? And I think the answer there was a resounding yes. Mm-hmm. And for so much. So, and Elizabeth, jump in here too. What are some of the how do I want to word this? What are some of the partners or the community partners, the resources that make all this possible that help?
Yeah, I think one big thing is we definitely get a lot of help from our vans are donated to us from Variety. And so we have 2 wonderful vans that we're able to, we were out last night, like Teresa, we did our annual point in time count. And so we were out until 1:30 in the morning, driving around these little vans, trying to reach out to anybody we could. And so like the vans are very important. So we really appreciate our partners with them, with Variety to give us those vans. And then recently, in terms of program expansion, we were able to get a federal grant for our street outreach program specifically. And so we were able to, the Federal Youth Service Bureau, FISB, we have a Runaway and Homeless Youth Grant, that 3-year grant that has funded 3 new positions. And so Teresa now has a whole crew of folks. So she doesn't just have the drop-in staff, but now she has other street outreach advocates who she's diligently training so they can have those keen eyes of how to place people and that empathetic response to be able to have those tough conversations of like, yeah, we're housing you outside tonight and that's really hard. And how do we make it as safe as possible? Like this is like heartbreaking work. And I really, again, hats off to our street outreach team for doing this because it's not easy to walk alongside these youth in that in those moments. So definitely great federal grant. I got on a tangent there, but so yeah, we have our federal street outreach grant. And then we also, I've been really impressed with our other homeless service providers here in Des Moines. We could not do this work without our partners at Primary Healthcare's Homeless Support Services. They do a lot of finding people the housing programs that we need. They're our centralized intake. They're the point of contact for people to get into programs. So, and Primary Healthcare also has a street outreach team, so we can partner with them to make sure that we know new spots or like trends. Teresa mentioned camp evictions. And so like we can all be kind of communicating to know where we need to go to make people as safe as possible. And then of course we have JAPA, who does street outreach here in Des Moines as well. Central Iowa Shelter and Services. We are always full at our emergency beds. And so we partner with our friends at SIS to make sure that we are being as collaborative as possible to wrap around those services for those young adults. We really appreciate youth-focused services, but since we can't provide all things ourselves, it's really important to have those collaborative partners. I could go on, but those are those are at least my short list.
Well, and I'm going to go here, and we have somebody I want to give a shout out who's behind the scenes running all of this. Matt Elpern. I know we don't give you a shout out enough, but he's the one that's making everything happen here in the videos. And he jokes with me all the time because almost every single YSS Let's Talk, I've got to say my line, and it takes a village. And it does, though. You just said it, does it not?
Yeah.
And we're talking about the professional village of be it all of these other professional organizations too. And I want to get to here in a bit, and Teresa, especially you too, with 18 years of experience and talking about how people can personally get involved, even if maybe you're not necessarily professionally in this field or this. But before I get there, everybody, if you're tuning in, welcome. YSS Let's Talk every Thursday night, 7 p.m. And please, I see some comments. I see some questions. I'm going to get to those in just a little bit. If you're watching right now, you're still welcome to ask a question, make a comment. Before I get to those, Elizabeth, you said something that can I ask a little bit of clarification on point? Was it point in time?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thank you.
No, that's okay. So what exactly are you talking about when you say point in time?
Yeah, point in time just happened last night. And so, yeah, Teresa and I were up very late last night. It's a federal across the nation. Everybody gets together on the last Wednesday in January to count people who are experiencing homelessness. So we do a poll of data from all of the shelters across the country. And then a really important part is that street count. So that's what our street outreach team does. We do the 8 to midnight shift, and we truck around to make sure that everybody is counted. Counting is very important. Think of it kind of like a census. Like, we get funding based on our numbers. And so we need to know of homelessness to make sure that we get the funding that we need to best help the people in our community. So we partnered with all of those wonderful people who I mentioned before, including the VA, primary health care, and other street outreach programs to make sure that we can reach as many people as possible.
Okay. So anything to add there, Teresa? You can jump in anytime here. This is a community conversation.
Okay, yeah. Well, and we love doing point in time. It's very interesting when we do it. But yeah, it's like last night. I mean, this is the first year that I remember in a very long time that we've had so much snow. Yeah. So getting into certain areas was not the easiest. So that was a little different, tricky last night, to be honest.
Sometimes.
But yes, it's kind of crazy. But I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about, because I know you did say something about different people, that we look forward to that will help us with different things. Did you want me to talk about that right now, or?
Yeah, no, please,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Elizabeth mentioned quite a few people. And I know there's, like she said, there's so many that we just probably don't have the whole list in front of us. Yeah. But we get Come and Go does donate sandwiches for us. And that is really nice, because not only do they use them at the center, but when it's time for us to go out on the weekend, or anytime that we may go out and do outreach, when we have those sandwiches, we take them out, and people love getting those sandwiches. And we've had, I think, Scratch Cupcake I don't know if they still do, but they used to donate cupcakes, Molly's Cupcakes. Again, since I'm not there during the week, I don't know everybody else that donates, but I do know some of those do. And then probably some of the biggest things that I see, well, before COVID, is we used to get some volunteers that would ride out in the van with us, which was really nice, because it does kind of help. Because for quite a while, I've been on my own, which is, I have no problem with it. I mean, I'm comfortable with it. Doesn't bother me at all. But it's also nice too to have that extra set of eyes, and also they, then they can do my writing down, or helping me yell when I need to yell. Because when we go out to camps, obviously we yell outreach and who we are, because it's their home. So we're not going to just go traipsing in their home without announcing ourselves. So the volunteers I love, and I hope we get back to it one day when COVID's gone. I loved when we had a lot of Mercy nurses, Mercy College. I loved when our nurses went out, and even some of the doctors from that were going, DMU students, because they could help with things. Like if someone, I had several times where somebody like might have cut themselves, and then so the nurse or the student, DMU student, might wrap their cut, or help bandage things, or they had health questions, anything like that. They would take blood pressures, just do many things. Again, things that you don't think about, that people out there need that help. So I really miss when we not having those volunteers, but again, until COVID's done. But when it's done, I hope we get these guys back, because the volunteers are very, very important. And like Elizabeth said, with getting this grant, and adding another 3 people, I am telling you, and it's so funny because now I have helpers with me. I'm not used to that. I'm like last night, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys. I mean, I feel like they're doing a lot of, getting stuff ready and helping me put stuff in the van, and things that usually take time that you don't think about. And because I just want to get out there on the street, but getting everything ready does take time. But now I have these other people that are able to help me. And again, that there's more eyes. We can probably pretty soon, we're going to be like splitting up a little bit, like going groups of 2. So that way we can cover more time, more places. So yeah, I just want to make sure I mention those, because I think it's very, very important that people know that those are really good. And even since people can't really volunteer right now, donations. I mean, again, we do get the clothes and shoes and stuff, but some of that stuff that we do need, that we don't get a lot of, that's going to be the batteries. We've been getting flashlights lately, but flashlights, batteries, candles, even, and this is recently has been happening, because I had somebody donate, like those new coloring books. They're like more like a stress book.
Yep.
I've had some people donating those to me lately, and I took them out, and oh my gosh, people out on the street love them.
Okay, we need to talk because I think I have some of those right there for you.
Yes.
Actually, I do. So we and speaking of those donations, and speaking of things, let me get to a comment here that we have, which is right along this lines here from Tammy. She asks, with COVID-19, are you able to accept donations of homemade like hats, scarves, mittens? Because COVID-19's changed everything. So Elizabeth or Teresa?
We are able to. We just, for everything, even before COVID, we have a heat treat process. It's just a way for us to be, again, the universal precautions. We heat treat everything that comes into our center. And so we nuke it in our beautiful industrial dryers for an hour, and then it's good to go. So as long as it can go through my dryer, then we can accept homemade goods. Okay.
So right there. And my goodness, I mean, are there other ways that, we've talked about, come and go, and we've talked about, some of these other, I don't want to call them professional, but, but I know there's a lot of people that are probably watching this, like me, thinking, like Teresa just said, those books that you have that are kind of the, intense coloring books, but also puzzles. And also I have some of those, and I'm like, oh, I could help out doing that. What are some other ways that just those listening can help out and jump on board?
I will say one of the things that I have students that I work with during the day. In the past, before COVID, I used to have them make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So again, just in case we didn't have the come and go stuff, that I would have at least something to take out. So I mean, making sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, little snack bags. Trying to think of anything else. Batteries is just such a commodity, because we never get them.
I have batteries written down 3 times on my page.
Yeah, and that's just because we don't get them.
Okay.
We don't even get very many tents. Occasionally we'll get one here or there, but tents, I mean, that would be great. Trying to think of other things. I would say the biggest thing is probably batteries, tents, and anything. Here's what I tell everybody, and this is the truth, and my garage is now seeing it, but I tell everybody, do not throw nothing away. Get a hold of me and I will get rid of it. And that is the truth. Even furniture, because seriously, when we have people move into apartments, they need
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Dishes, and I know we've got some stuff down in our donation center, but I'm like, my daughter right now is in the process of going to be moving, and my garage is getting fuller. So this weekend I'm going to be getting a hold of people. Hey,
Okay.
bikes, bikes are a hot commodity too, especially when summer gets here. And now that the DART bus, you can put the bikes on the buses. Bikes are very good. Backpacks, yeah.
Okay, so now if everything that you just said, batteries times 3 on my list, got that one. But everything else, that you've mentioned, if folks want to donate these things or the hats and scarf like Tammy was talking about, where do they donate them to? Where do we go?
They can drop them off at our Youth Opportunity Center, 612 Locust Street. If it's a bigger donation, we ask that it goes through our development coordinator, Blake, just so he can make sure that we're prepared to take on that donation. Otherwise, things can get dropped off at our 612 Locust Street. Our front door is locked with COVID, but we're staffed 24/7. We recommend that donations are dropped off between 10 and 6, though. Not 24 hours, please. But yeah, we're very easy to find, very easy to drop things off to. They can definitely call our main line and ask what things we definitely need. I like when people do that, because then I can say, like, today I need size large boxers, please, right away. We can kind of tailor it. We do try to keep our Amazon wish list updated to make sure that we have those unique needs. And we do have interesting, like, we sometimes need like the emergency blankets, of course, for like the warmth, and kind of just not odd, but like things that people wouldn't think about because we're not sleeping outside. So that makes sense. That's why we want to do the thinking for you. We need can openers. A lot of people donate food, but people can't get to the food inside the can without a can opener. So, so please, like, if you donate those kind of things. Also, a thing that I ask too is, like, if you're doing the hygiene packs and you have a granola bar in there, package the granola bar separate from the food. Otherwise, you have soap tasting granola bar and it's not good. So if you have food and hygiene packed together, to just like double bag that soap, so the granola bar doesn't taste like soap.
Okay, we don't want granola bars tasting like soap. So, and you said, so you said Amazon wish list. Did I hear that right? So there is an Amazon wish list that folks can go to and where is this here? Do we have, right there. Thank you, Matt. I told you Matt's a genius behind the screen here, behind the curtain. So right there, www.amazon.com. And I'm not going to read all that behind there, but you can look on that screen right there, go to that wish list, and is can openers and all that on that wish list, Elizabeth?
If it's not, I will work with to make sure that it is updated. I think I was just thinking about can openers today when I was working with somebody, so it's fresh in my mind, just like batteries are for Teresa.
No, and you know what? And I love what you said is, let us think for you, because you, Elizabeth, and you, Teresa, you're the experts. You're out there, and batteries, things that we wouldn't normally think about, that communities and other businesses that are like, you know what, we want to get a part of this. And I thank you, Jackie. I saw that comment in there. Jackie Matt actually had mentioned a comment that, yes, it does take a village. And it takes a village, and it takes a village of like I say, business supporters, community supporters. It takes a village of you, Elizabeth, you, Teresa, us getting the word out there. It takes a village of people sharing this video and getting, it takes everybody to make this happen, and ultimately really just to help. How many, can I ask this? How many youth do we serve? And I'm sorry, this is a curveball question, but.
No, that's fine. Right now we're serving about 20 to 30 youth a day. And so in a given year, it's anywhere from like 150 to closer to the 200 range. Our numbers definitely did drop a little bit with COVID. I think it was just harder for us to find folks. People kind of hunkered down more. But now we're seeing our numbers go up more. And we're definitely seeing more people sleeping outside and things like that. So we're expecting our numbers to increase as we go into the spring and summer for sure.
And just like Teresa, you had talked about, you talked about how you've seen this grow, and you've seen the expansion, and you've seen, I mean, you know, the what am I trying to say? The expansion of services, and now how you're even being provided a team. And you said 2 people to help you out and to pack. I mean, my goodness, is that pretty encouraging to you? And you know,
It is. Yep. It's very good. Because like I said, I've been that person for so long that sometimes that, you know, again, I'm using a lot of my time to get everything ready to where now I have helpers, and we can cover more space or more places, especially as the weather starts to get nice, because we know that will happen one day. And like I was telling the new people, I'm like, once we get nice weather, we're going to be out on the bikes. You can get to places that you can't in the van, and you can, I mean, you can walk miles. So it's easier when you're on the bike. Hop on the bike trail, and you can hit some places that you might not be able to get to. And I know, like with this wish list, this might have came from that, because Elizabeth, she'll just say, do you have anything for your wish list? And just a while back, I said, well, you know what would be great? Because again, we go out on the bikes, and I usually carry a backpack on my bike or on my back, and it gets heavy. So I said, it would be great to have one of those pole things, you know, like the kids ride in on the back of the bike, so we can just load it up. And I'll be darned, she got me one. So once summer gets here, it's going to be hooked up on my bike, and it'd be nice to be able to take that out, because then I can carry more stuff in that pole thing. I can't think what it's called. You know what I'm talking about, the bike things that you pull, you know, behind the bike. But yeah, getting the extra people is just, it's really nice, because again, that just means we're going to be able to serve more people, and every day of the week, not just when I'm going out every other weekend. So that makes me very happy and excited that we will have more people to find more people, because every day, seriously, I've been doing this for a very long time, and it never fails. Every single time I go out there, I meet new people all the time. And with 3 more people doing it every day of the week, that's going to be even more people that we'll meet, more people we can give information to, just more people that we can serve. And that, I think, is very important, and it's been needed for a while. So I was very excited about that.
So, and if you're listening to this right now and you're like, I want to get involved in this, I want to be a part of this. And correct me, Elizabeth, again, you're the expert here with IHYC, but go to yss.org and search that out. I also saw a number here that you can call, 515-238-4099. Call and say, hey, I just heard YSS Let's Talk, and I want to get involved. And they'll connect you with Elizabeth. They'll connect you with Teresa, and they can steer you and find your talent and what you can really offer there too. This is exciting. I love this. I also love this comment from Jackie Mott. Elizabeth and Teresa, I see youth sometimes downtown that I wonder if they have housing. If you see a youth and are concerned, what would you suggest we do? Awesome question, Jackie.
That is a great question. Yeah. And I would recommend calling us. Like, that's what we're here for. We want to be that resource. We want to be like where we are needed. So we've definitely responded to calls of like other businesses in the community being like, hey, I have somebody here. Can you come check on them? We are like 100%, like, we love having random conversations with people. And so we'll just pull up and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, do you need something? How can we work with you? Like, you know, so we can do that if you don't feel comfortable approaching that person by yourself. I do always recommend, if you do see somebody who may be signing or something, just to acknowledge them, smile, things like that. A lot of our folks feel really isolated, and they want to be seen. So I also suggest that too. But then call us, and then we can come out and have that conversation with that individual, make sure they're safe, get them hooked up to the services they need.
Very nice. I want to point out a comment, props to Teresa and Elizabeth here, from Serena, who says, thank you for all that you do, Teresa and Elizabeth, Jane. Such powerful stories. And I know that you could tell story after story after story, and maybe that would be a good idea, is to get like a collection of stories and put them out there for folks to read. You know, that would be great. So Jackie Mott also said street outreach is amazing. Jessica Lynn, thanks for all you do. Teresa and Elizabeth, you know, boy, y'all impact so many, including the youth, but so many other people that you get to be a part of this village and this team. So again, if you're tuning in, this is YSS Let's Talk. We are wrapping it up right now, but I want to tell you what, you can again be a part of this and the street outreach that we're talking about tonight. You can be a part. Go to yss.org. You can share this video. You can share this video as soon as, I think it's aired, as soon as our wizard behind the curtain, Matt, puts it out there. You can share this. You can also call 515-238-4099 and say, hey, I heard this YSS Let's Talk. I want to get involved. There's also an Amazon wish list. I think that is so cool. Love Amazon. Love Amazon wish lists. And if you want to go to that wish list, I think it's somewhere. Can we get that thrown back up on the screen there? And there we go right there. You can go to the Amazon wish list, and I think Elizabeth said if can openers aren't on there, they'll be on there shortly. And if batteries aren't on there, Teresa, they're going to get on there shortly as well. So you can figure out, and it's that simple. It's that simple to become a part of this team. And again, huge shout out to all of the businesses and the corporations that are a part of this. I think I saw also, I think Jackie Mott was also mentioning here, I'm trying to get to it, a charity. I can't find it right now because I'm trying to scroll through. Yeah, the Thank You Variety, the children's charity, for your generous support. My goodness, so many people that are a part of this. So Elizabeth, Teresa, anything else you want to say to folks before we sign off tonight?
I think that covers it. Yeah, we definitely really appreciate getting to street outreach is a very unique thing that we get to do here. And we're very, I'm sure you can tell we're very proud of our street outreach team, and we think that it's one of the coolest. So thank you for letting us share with you. And I hope it enlightened some people today.
Yep, and I'd also like to say thank you too for this opportunity, because again, I was very nervous going in to do this, and it was much better than what I thought it would be. So, but yeah, definitely a great opportunity to be able to get the word out there and what we do, because again, so many people don't realize what goes on in Des Moines. They're, right in their backyard basically, and that is the truth.
Yep. And Teresa and Elizabeth, I can guarantee to say this, that 612 YOC, IHYC, street outreach would not be what it is if it wasn't for you. I can promise you 100% that. So thank you both for what you do and the lives that you change. And of course, all of those at YSS and all of those a part of YSS and making all of this possible. I also want to mention that all of the links that we've talked about, they're in the chat. So if you share this video, please do. But you can go through, you can see all of those links. And if you did miss out and you're not maybe on Facebook, or you want to share this to somebody who's not on Facebook, just go to yss.org, click on YSS Let's Talk, and you can find all of these YSS Let's Talks right there. Okay, so Elizabeth, thank you so much. Teresa, thank you so much. Again, the biggest of kudos to you. Biggest of kudos, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so next week on YSS Let's Talk, I am excited about this. It is AMP Day on the Hill. And if you're questioning what AMP is, I should have worn my AMP t-shirt. I've got like 5 of them. It is Achieving Maximum Potential. It's our foster youth alumni empowerment group all throughout Iowa, hundreds and hundreds of youth. And we're going to be talking with some special guests here next week. Taylor Hardin is our AMP coordinator, actually. actually, and I'm really excited to speak with her. So please tune in next week, 7 p.m. Get everybody to tune in. We're here every week, 7 p.m., but this next one is going to be awesome, just like tonight was. So again, thank you to all for tuning in, and until next week, well, be safe, and we'll see you then. Teresa and Elizabeth, again, many thanks.